Well, good morning, everybody. Here we are on Saturday morning, and most of you are enjoying your day. Winter has arrived in Quebec and Montreal. It's rather cold out. It's rather cold indoors. So we're reading through Job 32 to 34 today. And here we find that Job's friends have just given up because Job is insisting on his innocence, that he is suffering unjustly. They've just stopped talking. And when it comes to suffering unjustly, it comes because there's this idea that suffering is a punishment, and people still see it that way today. And it's not whatsoever. God was not punishing Job for anything. He was trying to make a point to the enemy on the free will nature of Job to worship him, that Job's love for him was authentic, and it wasn't because of the good things that God had been showering down on him. So that suffering had a purpose, but it wasn't a correction. It wasn't to correct Job. And the friends insisted that Job had sinned, and that's why there's this conflict. And then we have this young guy who speaks up. We don't even know he was there. We had no idea he was listening. And he's upset at Job's friends because Job's friends haven't been able to refute him at all. And he still is in the position that Job has sinned, and is thinking himself more righteous than God. And that's not what Job is saying at all. Job's just totally confused, and he's asking questions from that confusion, from the little that he knows. But there's one thing, it all the way through this, we're getting smatterings of truth, and a lot of it is true, except that it's in the wrong context. If it was in the context of dealing with somebody who was lost in sin, yes. But Job wasn't lost in sin. Job was suffering through something, because there was purpose in it, but it wasn't correction. And so here we have this smattering of truth again. And one of the things that stood out for me was how he addressed Job's earlier declaration that he couldn't find God. He said he was looking everywhere and he couldn't find him because he wanted to meet with him to state his case, and he couldn't find him anywhere. And really what comes across here is that God's never left you. He's always talking to you. He talks to you either this way or this way. He refers to talking to him through dreams and circumstances and this sort of thing. And we can all relate to this. We've all been there. We've all been lost in things where we feel that we can't hear God. It could come through suffering. It could be illness. It could be just fear has this way of closing our ears so that we can't hear him. Panic, anxiety seems to cut off the communication. But what it cuts off is that quite often it silences that quiet voice in us. Not that it's not there. It just everything else is too loud for us to hear. And so, but God doesn't stop talking. He talks to us through dreams. He talks to us through people. He talks to us through circumstances. He talks to us through his word. There's all kinds of ways that he continues to talk to us. But we have no expectation. We don't understand how he communicates. We don't recognize his voice and the tools that he's using to communicate. And so quite often we say that God has gone silent. And God doesn't go silent. Or if he does, it's because he already gave the answer. But when we need comfort inside, he's there. He's there. So our challenge really is to recognize his voice, to know his voice, to be able to respond to his voice, to know how he speaks with us. And that's what we need to spend our time in our relationship with him learning. So you guys have a great and blessed and wonderful day, and I'm looking forward to our gathering tomorrow. God bless.